Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. It is lovely to see you all on Zoom. This is the first of a series of pre-orientation sessions that has been tailored for our post-professional master's students to support them on their transition to studying in person here at USC. As you all know, my name is Dr. Catherine Shin. I am faculty on the admissions team. I also teach in the PPMA program, so I'll see you all next spring. But I'm joined here today by our wonderful program director, Dr. Emily Ochi.
Thanks, Dr. Shin. I'm Dr. Emily Ochi. I am the program director for our post-professional master's program. So basically what that means is I am your first point of contact for kind of all things related to the program. I do also teach in the program, so I will have you in classes, but then I'm also the person that you will go to for sort of general academic advising, programmatic questions, all of those sorts of things. So I'll get to know you all quite well next year, and I'm really excited to meet you all and support you on your OT education journey. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Dr. Ochi. So jumping right in. Today, we will be doing a quick overview of the program, and then I will be discussing the Chan Division Tuition Scholarship and Student Worker applications. As I mentioned in my invitation, applications are already open, but I will walk you through the process on our website. And then we'll open the floor for any questions, and then that's it.
Okay, so as Dr. Shin mentioned, we're going to do just a quick overview. This session will focus on those applications for student worker positions and scholarships, but we think it's helpful just to kind of start with the overview of the program as well, so you know what to expect when you start in August. This may be a repeat for many of you if you either attended one of our info sessions or reviewed this information. But again, I think it's helpful to put everything in context. So for the curriculum for the post-professional masters, we really emphasize a few different threads, a few different focus areas through our curriculum. So the first is around occupational science. And this is something that was founded here at USC. We're quite proud of. We think it really expands students' perspective when using an occupational approach to occupational therapy. So we have this occupational science thread, a leadership thread, because our graduates are going to be leaders within the field, both domestically here in the US and really globally, especially with our PPMA program. So we have a leadership focus, a clinical scholar research application focus. Basically what this means is we want our graduates to be able to understand how to use research that they can find in the literature and academic scholarship literature in order to apply it to clinical practice. And so through this thread, we have both a qualitative research course and a quantitative research course. And then our other thread is where students are able to customize their own learning. We have elective coursework that students will select in both the fall and the spring. I'm going to go over a lot more detail about that in the June pre-orientation series session, but that's the opportunity for students to customize their learning. And then we also have this focus on US-based practice. Because all of our PPMA students are already practicing or at least eligible to practice OT in their home countries, what we focus on here is what we feel like we can add to that is the US specific context. So there's a course around US health systems, so understanding all of the context, systems of care within the US, and then also specifically a couple courses around what OT practice looks like in different contexts, including some emerging practice areas. This is an overview of all of the courses that you will take over the 2 semesters in the fall. There are 4 courses that you will take with your cohort together. So all of the post-professional master's students will take the first 4 courses together, all in the same class, and then you'll take your elective courses with whichever students choose those same elective courses. And you may also have some of our entry OTD students in those courses as well. And so you can see through these courses that those threads that I mentioned previously are emphasized. So we have that clinical problems in OT. This gives you the OT and US context perspective, survey of health systems, foundations of occupational science and occupational therapy, that occupational science thread, and then the applying quantitative evidence. And that's all in the fall. Then in the spring, there are 3 courses that you'll take together with your fellow post-professional master's students. That's a clinical problems in OT. That's a continuation of the 500A. So again, you get that OT specific practice context, as well as you'll work on a summative experience assignment in that course, then a qualitative evidence course and a leadership capstone course. And then you'll round it out with electives of your choosing.
Thank you, Dr. Ochi. Apologies for that technical glitch.
No worries.
Moving forward, so the Division Tuition Scholarship, as I mentioned, the applications are open. They opened on May 1st and will remain open until May 31st, so the last day of the month. Tuition scholarships are awarded on the basis of merit of your application submitted, and you will complete the online application directly on our Chan Division website. The link is provided there, but I'll show you how to navigate to that soon after these slides. The awards will be announced over the summer, but I would like to let everyone know that the awards are announced quite late into the summer. And so you can expect your award to be sent to you sometime late June, early July, so well into the summer. As international students, many of you are currently in the process of obtaining your student visas, and part of that process does include reporting any financials to prove that you are able to fund your education. But I'd like to let you know that while the division tries to support all our students as much as we can financially, it will not make a huge difference in your tuition. So my advice would be to please go ahead and move forward with the steps that you are needing to do for your student visa applications, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to you in the summer at as soon as we can. But just a quick note there. The second financial support the division offers to our PPMA students is the student worker positions. The student worker positions are paid positions within the division where you will be selected to work either in some capacity with the events team, our global initiatives team, the recruitment team as a student ambassador, or any administration or research positions across the division. The process includes a interview process that will occur again, sometime in the summer, typically in the month of June. And so it will be around July, early August, with you for you to receive your notifications on whether or not you received the student worker position. So just a quick disclaimer that the announcements do come a little bit later. We encourage all our students to apply to both. You can be awarded both if you are selected. And so please do not hesitate. We encourage you all to apply. So without further ado, I'm going to share the web page so you can see exactly where you can apply.
Dr. Shin, can I just add that with the student worker positions, typically they're 10 hours a week. And so the specific work that you do depends on, what position you would be selected for. But typically they're about 10 hours a week. So just as you're keeping that in mind with the rest of your coursework.
Thank you. Here we go. So this is our Chan website. Hopefully, you have all already become familiar with this website. For your welcome website, if you'd like to drop in and review any upcoming announcements, you can pop over here into the top charcoal gray portion of the website, and under student resources, you'll be able to locate our welcome website under the post-professional master's program. And then here's all that fun information that we've shared with you. To locate the scholarships under education, you will drop down to scholarships and financial aid, Chan Division scholarships and awards. For your program of study, please select the post-professional master's program up here. And you'll find a drop down for the two scholarships I explained to you, the division tuition scholarship and the student worker positions. So you'll be submitting your applications right on this website. Please note the applications are open until May 31st, and then we'll close after May 31st has passed in LA time, in Pacific time. So your application includes your name, your email address. You can use your Chan or USC email address if you already received one. It will be your USC email address as students. So also please include your USC ID. And here there is a section for a short statement of interest. No more than 300 words, and then the prompt is right here for you to read and go over. The other remarks, if there's anything else that you'd like to share with the scholarship committee, please feel free to include that information there. Once you have filled out all the portions, go ahead and submit. And that's it for the division tuition scholarship. For the student worker positions, the information you'll see is a brief description about each department that you can apply to become a student worker in, and a brief overview of the responsibilities you may have as a student worker. As mentioned here, students are welcome to apply for all scholarships and positions for which they are eligible. Your applications will be considered separately for each. However, you will only be able to receive one student worker position in the Chan division. So if you receive a student worker position within our division, you'll be working about 10 hours a week. And so while you could apply for another student worker position outside of our division somewhere on campus in the university, it is we do have a maximum of one per student across all programs. The amount for the student worker position is currently $17.28 an hour, up to 10 hours per week. This rate may change, but this is the current rate for this academic year. Students selected for student worker positions will be notified in September. I am pretty confident that we'll be able to get back to you prior to September, but that is the kind of latest that we've gotten back to students in the past. Again, these applications will close at the end of the month. You will be typically contacted sometime late June, early July on the interview process. So what does your application entail? Again, just some general identifying information. You can select which positions you'd like to apply for. Again, you can apply to all of them. This application also includes a personal statement. There's also a section requesting that you briefly describe any clinical background and experience you might have. If you are applying to be a student worker, especially in a research lab, please note that there is a section here requesting that you describe any research-related experience and skills you may have. None of these, I will note, are required to be a student worker, but it is just useful information for the committee to review when reviewing applications. And so I do encourage you to include any information that you believe might be relevant. There's also any clinical research interest and goals you might have, any other work experiences. For example, you might have worked at a local cafe, you might be a blogger on your spare time, any other types of work experiences, please feel free to share. Here you can share with us which languages that you can speak and any other skills or information that might not have fit into the above categories, but you'd like to share with us, please do include them here. Again, you'll submit right on the website by clicking this button on the bottom, and that's it. I will go back to our slide. So before I open up the floor for questions, a quick update for the upcoming summer. The next pre-orientation session will be on May 31st. So it will be the deadline for scholarships and student workers. The next session will be the day before on May 30th. So that day we will be meeting our wonderful global initiatives team, and they'll be providing an introduction to student life. The time is yet to be confirmed, but when it is confirmed, it'll be available on our welcome website, and we will send out an email for saving the date. After that, early in June, on June 17th, Dr. Ochi will be holding her electives advising. If you're familiar with the program, and as Dr. Ochi mentioned earlier in today's session, you will be taking many electives. And in order to do that, we'll be going through some preliminary steps for that. And so please note that on your calendars. We do encourage all of our students to join us live that day. So now I'll go ahead and open up the floor for questions. Please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. You can unmute yourself. We are here to answer your question.
Hello.
Hi,
Hey,
Shin. Nice to see you.
I have a question about the uh, student worker position, about the research, and there's uh, is there any example of the skills we can mention in the skills part, research skills?
I don't know if we have any examples, but the kind of skills that would be helpful, and again, it's not required, but if you've had any previous research experience, so if you've had any experience either with recruitment or even following research protocols or analyzing data with any sort of any of the above, research we have a really big range of research in our division, anything from really qualitative research that focuses on interviews and the student worker sometimes does things like transcribing recorded interviews to quantitative the really quantitative side of things where sometimes you're looking at statistics. Again, only it depends on what experience you've had or you've had experience interacting with participants. Sometimes student workers will do like a screening in order to see whether or not someone is eligible to be a participant in a program. So looking at sort of like an intake form that they've submitted. It really varies, but just anything that you've had related to that would be helpful for the committee to know. And even if you haven't, that's okay. You can, there are things that you can learn within a lab, but it's just helpful to know whether or not you've had any experience with it.
Okay, thank you.
Or even things like searching through literature online, that all of those would be examples of the kinds of experience and skills that would be applicable.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
So I see a question in the chat. Thank you. I am an international student. If I receive the scholarship after getting my F1 visa, should I update the financial proof in the I-20? I would refer to our Office of International Services for any questions regarding your visa process. I can go ahead and show you their website so you can drop in for advising. However, I believe that once you have submitted your financial proof for your I-20, you will not need to go back and do any updates. And so you can just move forward. There is another question in the chat. Is it possible to work outside of USC, considering the future class schedules in the fall? So that's a great question. Your class schedule, I'm sure Dr. Ochi can elaborate, will vary based on what electives that you take. Some of our elective courses involve a hands-on experience at various clinical sites. And so you might find yourself traveling across Los Angeles for your clinical experience classes, electives. Once you get used to living in LA, you'll realize that that takes a lot of time. But having said that, many of our students across the programs do work around 10 hours a week. We don't recommend anything more than 10 to 11 hours because you do need time to study. You need time for your restorative occupations. And so that is what we do recommend. If you are an international student, you will need special approval from OIS called CPT, Curricular Practical Training, in order to work outside of the school. Typically, that is not awarded to students in their first semester at USC. But again, I would reach out to them to advise you on your specific situation. However, you are welcome to work at any position available for students within the university. And USC is a huge university. There's multiple student worker positions available throughout the year. You could work at the bookstore, you could work at the gym, you could work as a research student worker in another division if that is available. And so the opportunities are multiple and they continue to come up through the semester. Where to find that would be on the Career Center website. If you have created your USC ID and Shibboleth login credentials, then you should be able to access the Google Hub, the USC Student Google Hub, and there you'll find links to the Student Center, the Student Career Center, where you can look through those opportunities. I will say more do come up closer to the fall. So there might not be a lot here because right now, because it's the end of the spring and people are getting ready to graduate. And so not a lot of open positions may be available right now, but again, you can always go back. So as I mentioned before, I do want to show you the OIS website. This might be very useful for you. So how you can search for that is the Office of International Services, USC. And it'll take you to the USC OIS website. The address is ois.usc.edu. Here you will find some useful information for our new students, pre-departure, the health insurance and immunization requirements, arrival in the US, arriving at USC. You'll see guidelines on US employment, so on-campus employment, curricular practical training, and I'd like to direct your attention to the drop-in advising under the More's menu. You'll see that OIS has drop-in advising every day of the week at different times. These are all LA Pacific time. And so you can just join live through the Zoom link right here, and you'll be able to speak with an OIS counselor to answer any questions you might have about your visa process. Or how to, once you're here, you might also be frequently attending their advising sessions about maintaining your status or any OPT that you might be applying for after you graduate. So this is where the first stop for any questions you might have about your visa. These are great questions. Are there any other questions? If you don't have any questions now, but you might have some in the future, I'd like to show you how you can reach out to me anytime in the future under education and the admissions team. You can meet the admissions team here, and so these are our admissions team faculty members, and this is our wonderful admissions counselor, Lloyd, who you might have heard from throughout the application journey. If you'd like to book a separate time to meet with me, if you have any questions about the scholarship and student worker applications, any questions you might have on your transition as you prepare for fall, you can click on the link and it'll take you to my booking website. You can go ahead and continue as guest, and then you'll be able to book a Zoom meeting with me at your preferred time. If you do not see a time that works for you specifically, especially because a lot of our post-professional master students are abroad, and so the times might not match perfectly, feel free to just shoot me an email, and I'll do my best to accommodate your time zone. There's another question in the chat. For the electives advising, is it better to do it in person or maybe the same through Zoom meetings?
The electives advising will be through Zoom also because it will be in June. Most of our students will still be abroad. They won't have traveled to Los Angeles yet. So we'll do electives. What will happen at the pre-orientation session is in June is that I will give an overview of the electives, outline the various options, and answer any questions. And then in July and August, I will actually be setting up some open hours that students will be able to sign up for to do some individual elective advising. And those all happen through Zoom. So that it's most accessible for everybody. But if you have specific questions, you're welcome to email me about them. Some things, just so you all know, some things with the fall electives are still being sorted out in terms of the scheduling, and so I might not have answers right away, but I'm happy to answer whatever I can.
Thank you for that question. We have another question in the chat. How much scholarship is generally awarded? So that depends on every year. We do have typically a different range of students who apply for these division tuition scholarships, and also the pre-established budget does differ from cycle to cycle. However, I will say in past years, the range has been from anywhere from about $3,000 to I think about $6,000-$7,000 based on the application and the cycle. And so it is a broad range. Great question. Okay. If there isn't any more questions from the group, again, feel free to email us if anything else comes up. But I will stop recording